put Jeremiah in the dungeon, the king then sitting in the gate of Benjamin.
All right. Now let's talk about this. Now, where's Jeremiah right now? He's in the pit. He's in the cistern. And for all practical purposes, if Jeremiah doesn't get some help, Jeremiah's going to check out, isn't he? He's leaving us if he doesn't get some help. But now, as Jesse said earlier, God always has a ram in the bush. Now, there's a brother. There's a black man. And Donnie said, he's that black man. He came to the rescue. So now look at this. Now, when Ebed-Melech, all right, and he's a Cushite, so he's from Ethiopia or Sudan. At the close of the day, he's a black man. At the close of the day, Shanita. That's all you need to remember. So he comes to the rescue. The Ethiopian, one of the eunuchs, and a eunuch was primarily a castrated man. That was a eunuch. Now, it doesn't mean that he was castrated, because eunuch also means an official in the court. So he may have just been an official in the court. But that's right. Ebed-Melech his name means servant of the king. So this may not be his real name. His name means servant of the king. So he was close to the king. He's an Ethiopian. So what do you need to get from this? Jeremiah is an Israelite. Ebed-Melech is an Ethiopian. So he's a what? A foreigner. Are you with me here? Look how God is working now. Look how God is working. He's a foreigner. So he comes here. And by the way, we don't know the connection here. We don't know, the Bible is silent. We don't know why Ebed-Melech chose to get involved. That's right. That's right. As my brother Clifton said, they have one nook in that quarter. Didn't have one nook in that quarter. Are you with me? Clifton says that all the time. So he didn't have a dog in that fight. We don't know why Donnie decided to get involved, but he does. And thank God he does. So Ebed-Melech, the Ethiopian, one of the eunuchs, castrated male, maybe, which was in the king's house, heard now that they had put Jeremiah into what? Dungeon, the cistern, the pit. And now the king was sitting at the gate of Benjamin. So what was happening? Ebed-Melech heard what was going on. The king was at the gate. He was conducting affairs, judicial affairs, taking care of business. Now, Ebed-Melech took a risk going to see the king because he could have been put to death. That's right. So, Donnie, you took a risk. You went to see the king. He could have put your lights out, Donnie. He could have. But maybe Donnie had the right demeanor when he went. Maybe there was something about Donnie that the king saw. All right, come on, Kenny. Yes. All right, good deal. Thank you. So now let's make sure we understand 7 now. This is the C. So he's an Ethiopian. He is a eunuch, maybe a castrated male, and he heard that they, meaning those 4 princes, had put Jeremiah in the cistern or the pit. And so then Ebed-Melech decided he was going to act. I'm going to go see the king. At least Ebed-Melech knew where to look for help, didn't he? Said, I'm going to go see the king. So remember now, the king is at the gate of Benjamin, because there are only 2 tribes left in the southern kingdom, Judah and Benjamin. The other 10 tribes were in the northern kingdom, and they have already been captured. The Assyrians took care of them. And so let's move on. That's the C. Now the speak will be in verses 8 through 10. Linda, do you have a question on verse 7? Anybody? 7. All right. Now, Linda, read verses 8 and 9.
Ebed-Melech went forth out of the king's house and spake to the king, saying, My lord the king, these men have done evil in all that they have done to Jeremiah the prophet, whom they have cast into the dungeon, and he is like to die for hunger and in the place where he is, for there is no more bread in the city.
All right. Now Now, 10 is included, but I don't want you to read 10 just yet. Let's look at this now. So in verse 7, we have C. The brother comes to Jeremiah's rescue. The brother took a risk, Ty, going to see the king. He took a risk. As Kenny said, Donnie could have been put to death. All right, now look at verse 8. Ebed-Melech means the servant of the king. So it may not be his name, but it's a title. Went forth out of the king's house and spake to the king, saying. So guess what? Donnie steps out on what? Faith. Forsaken all, I trust him. And you know, a good example of faith, I think we've shared this before, faith is taking the first step when you don't see the entire staircase. Now that's faith, Shanita. Let me say that again slowly in case somebody left the room. Faith is taking the first step when you can't see the entire staircase. Are y'all with me here? So he steps out on faith. Now in verse 9, Ebed-Melech says, my Lord the king. Now, you know what? Donnie is not stupid. So what Donnie does, he addresses him with the proper title, doesn't he? Note what he says, my Lord the king. Because Donnie has sense enough to know, Sierra, that the king can put him out. The king can take care of him, Brian. Donnie knows that. So he says, my Lord the king. Look at this now. These men, now look, Ebed-Melech didn't even call their names. Note that for a moment. Come on now. Y'all walk with me here. He didn't even call their names. Are y'all walking with me here? Donnie is using common sense. Yeah, he's also, I can't think of the other word right now. But anyway, these men have done what? Evil. Look at it. In all that they have done to Jeremiah the prophet. Now, as Kenny said, Ebed-Melech didn't have a dog in that fight. He didn't have one nook in that quarter. The Bible doesn't tell us why Ebed-Melech decided to get involved. We don't know. Maybe it was something that Jeremiah said. It was something about Jeremiah. That's right. I like that. And somebody else. Man of God. Thank you. And I thought I heard somebody say something over here. All right. Man of God. He knew the difference between right and wrong. Are y'all with me here? Okay. So let's continue to unpack this verse now. So then they have cast into the cistern, and he is like to die for hunger in the place where he is, for there is what? Come on. No more bread in the city. So Donnie is saying, O king, they have thrown him in that pit. That pit. We don't know exactly how deep it is. 30, 40, 50 feet, maybe deeper. There's no water. It's dry. And then Ebed-Melech says, O king, he'll probably die because there's no water, there's no food, because remember, Jerusalem is under what? Siege right now. The Babylonians are at the gate. Are y'all with me? They're at the gate. And so Ebed-Melech steps up to the plate. That's what I want to say. He steps psychology. That's what I was trying to say, Donnie. Donnie uses psychology with the king. He plays on his mind. Are you with me? He plays on his mind. And so Ebed-Melech says, he may starve. He certainly won't get in the water. We have run out of food. And so we need some help. All right? Read verse. Now, just when you read verse 10, remember what I said a little while ago when I opened the lesson up. Make sure when I open the lesson up, keep me straight here, Donnell. When I opened the lesson up, I told you that Zedekiah changed with the wind. Didn't I tell you that? Whatever is popular, that's the route, that's the crowd Jeremiah, Zedekiah will follow. Whoever is popular. Now, Zedekiah essentially gave the four princes permission to do what you want to do with Jeremiah. All right, are you with me now? Don't forget that now. And then Ebed-Melech, alias Donnie, steps in, and then Ebed-Melech please his case on behalf of Jeremiah. Are y'all with me? Now let's see what Zedekiah the king is going to do. Let me read verse 10 only. This is part of speak.
Then the king commanded Ebed-melech the Ethiopian, saying, Take from hence 30 men with thee, and take up Jeremiah the prophet out of the dungeon before he die.
Oh, boy. Let's give Donnie a hand. Let's give Donnie a hand. Donnie, you did your job. Donnie, you did your job, man. The brother came to the rescue. So now, here this king, just a little while ago, Oogie Bats, he was on the four princes side. Don't you remember? He played pilot as you look ahead. He washed his hands. But now, when Donnie comes in, and Donnie uses psychology, Donnie knows how to choose his words carefully so he can walk away alive too. Are y'all with me? And so he's then the king. Now here's Zedekiah. Zedekiah changes his mind again. Look, the wind has just blown, Oogie. It blew again, Donnell. So he changed his mind again. Then the king commanded Ebed-melech, the Ethiopian, saying, guess what? Take from hence, take from this place 30 men with thee. Now, depending on what translation you have, it may say 3 men. Don't worry about that, because realize sometimes the original translation is lost. The original meaning is lost in translations. You follow me now? So don't lose one moment of sleep. I wait when somebody says, Jimmy, my book says 3. I understand that. But we go by 30. Are you clear? If you want to use 3, that's fine. Now, my thing is, it probably didn't take 30 men to pull up one poor little man from the pit. But there's a but now. Probably not. Ken is getting ready. Hold that thought, kid. Hold that thought. I know you. You're getting ready to say something. Listen to what I'm saying now. The king says, take from this place 30 men. Now, I don't think it took 30 men to pull him up, but there was a reason why. All right, Kenny, go ahead and say something. Okay, all right. That's true. That's true. Any other comments on the 30 men? Any other comment? I like that. Yeah, look. He needed witnesses. Any more? Then I'm going to share something that, I did my homework, but I want to hear from you because I'm not going to do all the talking. Come on, Jesse. Why 30 men? So they were the king's bodyguards, maybe. They were the king's bodyguards. Now, it did not take 30 men to pull him up. But the reason was, here's what I read now. I prayed about it, that they would be used because what was happening, somebody was watching. There's always somebody watching. And so they didn't need 30 men necessarily to pull up this old man because Jeremiah may be 70 or 80 now. They didn't need that, but they needed protection. Protection, just in case somebody showed up trying to stop. So yes, it was a process. We're going to see in a moment now. It was a process. They didn't just, what are we going to do? Ebed-melech has thought this thing through. You follow me? He doesn't want to cause any injury to Jeremiah. That's coming up now in the next verse. And so now, one scholar says that these 30 men may have been the king's bodyguards. And so didn't need 30 men to pull him up, but just in case they had interference, if you will, then those men could serve as protect the others who were trying to pull Jeremiah up. You want to say something else, Kenny? Hold that. Not ready for that yet, Kenny. All right, any other comments? Hold that, Kenny. Not ready for that yet. Okay, so I hope we're clear on the 30 men now because I thought the same thing. Why 30 men? Because Jeremiah, for all practical purposes, is a senior citizen now. And remember what I said now. If he made too many loose steps, he would sink farther in that mud. But these are not the 30 men, Jesse. These are the princes. The princes got permission. Yeah, they got permission. Yeah, that's true. That's right. So don't get confused now. These are not the 30 men. These are the 4 princes in verse 1. That's not in our lesson for today. The 4 princes get permission, and they didn't throw him in there. They let him down gently. Remember, we explained why they did that. Yeah, that's right. But these are not the 30 men. So this is a different group. All right, are we together? Okay, now let's get to the next part. Ken is about to teach my lesson for me. All right, now we're going to go. Let me get myself together here. Let's go to verse 11 and 12. This is stretch. You remember I gave you 4 S's. Stretch. All right, read 11 only, Linda. We got to keep moving. Clock is ticking. Ty, be patient with me, brother.
So Abimelech took the men with him and went into the house of the king under the treasury, and took thence old cast clouts and old rotten rags, and let them down by cords into the dungeon to Jeremiah.
Good. Let's stop right there. All right, let me try to speed it up. This is the third S, stretch. Now, here we go again. Now, here's Donnie. Donnie is still looking out for Jeremiah. So Ebed-Melech took the men. How many men did he take with him? 30. He took 30 men with him into the house of the king. And when he got there, Ebed-Melech went to another part of the palace. He looked under the treasury. He found some old rags, some old clothes, if you will. Look, read it carefully now. And he let them down by ropes into the cistern to Jeremiah. So here's what Ebed-Melech did. Picture this for a moment. He went to the palace. You see, he had already gotten permission from Zedekiah. He got permission. So he goes there, and he goes to that room under the treasury. He finds those old rags and cloths, and then he will let them down by rope. By rope. There's a reason for this now. There's a reason. If you read your lesson, you already know. So this is Ebed-Melech. Remember, he didn't have one dog in the fight, but he steps out. He steps out anyway. All right, Linda, read verse 12.
And Ebed-Melech the Ethiopian said unto Jeremiah, Put now these old cast clouts and rotten rags under thine armholes, under the cords. And Jeremiah did so. All
right. Now, you understand that. See, Donnie was looking out for Jeremiah's welfare because those ropes were made of rough, coarse material. And if it had just been the ropes only, what would have happened as they started to pull Jeremiah up? They would have cut him as they started to pull him up. Are you with me now? And so that would have advanced death, if you will, because we don't know what kind of condition Jeremiah was in by the time they pulled him up. We don't know what kind of condition he was in. And so Ebed-Melech sent those rags and cloths down there to put under Jeremiah's armpits to cushion. So in other words, when he put the ropes around under his armpits, they would not cut him as they pulled him up slowly. Does that make sense? All right, the last S, and I got to bring it to a close. It's already 10:35. Be patient, Ty. All right, Linda, save. This is the last S.
So they drew up Jeremiah with cords and took him out of the dungeon, and Jeremiah remained in the court of the prison.
All right, thank you. All right, so here's what they did. After Ebed-Melech made preparations, they took him up. And where you see the word cords, just say ropes. Same thing. They took him up with ropes, and they got him up out of the cistern, where you see dungeon, cistern, or pit. And Jeremiah remained in the court of the prison. So here's the deal. Jeremiah was rescued, but he was not released. Are y'all with me here? So please understand that now. Oh, yes, He was removed from the cistern. He was rescued, but he was not released. Does anybody have a question or a comment before I give you my takeaways? All right, here are the takeaways. Zedekiah. Mm-hmm. Very good, very good. Uh-huh. Yes, yes. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because in the verses that are left, and read the rest of the chapter, verses 14 to the end, you're going to see that Zedekiah calls another meeting, another private meeting with, lost my train. That's right. Thank you. I said it backwards. The king Zedekiah calls another meeting, a secret meeting with Jeremiah. So go back and read it now. That's after verse 13. Here are my takeaways. Compassion doesn't cost anything. If compassion doesn't cost you anything, it's really not compassion. That's what I'm trying to say. Take the problems to the leaders, but be respectful. In other words, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Courage doesn't whisper when truth needs a voice. God's deliverance may not always be release. Sometimes it's relief to sustain you in the days ahead. And the last one, rescue isn't always escape. Rescue